Hello everyone and welcome into today's video. You might ask yourself, what are we in store for today? Well, you're in store for a heck of a fun-filled video. I first want to start off by saying a huge thank you to the 4,632 new subscribers on my channel in 28 days. Yes, you heard it right, 4,632. I will not forget any single one of you. So thank you for joining my YouTube family. You make me feel loved. You make me feel appreciated. And you just make me feel happy. So if you could do me a favor, and to the new people that are here, if you could just take a minute and share me out to one person, that will get me another 4,632 subscribers in the next 28 days. Without you, this channel is not possible, and there's really no reason to do it. So thank you so much to my friends that have been on here for over a year, and to my new subscribers, thank you for trusting me. I know I'm not everybody's flavor or everybody's speed, but I really appreciate you taking that courageous leap of faith and trusting me and subscribing to my channel. So a special shout out. It feels amazing. Now that I got through that without being too emotional and all smiles, today we're going to talk about the Victorian time period. And I started in the later part of laying this out, I started to focus on items that I had in an exhibition here at a local museum in the fall of 2012. The Victorian time period, from memory here, it's 1837 to 1901, and that's a 64-year span. When we break it down further, there's a little bit of debate on early, mid, and late Victorian, but just for the basic information, early is around 1830 to 1848, mid is like 1848 to 1870-ish, and then late is 1870 to around 1901. That's the 64-year span of the Victorian time period. Now, Georgian is slightly before that, and Georgian is around 1714 to around 1837. Now, you might ask yourself, I just overlapped some time periods there. I said early Victorian was 1830 to 1848. And then I said Georgian went up to around 1837. As jewelry historians, we understand that there is a gracious overlap of time periods. So it's not like a certain time period started on this day and ended on this day. It's not like a time clock. You don't punch in and punch out. There's a gradual transition in materials used, design aesthetics, what was appropriate for the history of what was going on in the world. Much of our jewelry was controlled by history and by world events. So that's kind of the baseline information that I want to give you for dates, because everyone has kind of asked me, what can you tell us on your feelings on the dates? And that's the closest that I can get you. The reason why I say that so pointed is I was close friends with Christy Romero, who wrote the Warman's books. And you know, in my past videos, I've mentioned her before. And Christy Romero was the go-to on such information. When other people laminate themselves as an expert, you need to run for the hills. You know, if someone says, I'm the queen of Victorian, well, you better run. And I've always addressed all my viewers as the princes and princesses of my channel, because kings and queens have had their days, you know? So there's a whole new generation of historians and collectors out there in the world doing very courageous work. And I respect them very much. This is a lover's eye. Let me see if I can focus on this. There we go. This is a lover's eye, and this is a charcoal drawing. You might ask yourself, what is that crazed surface here? That is, in fact, a sheet of mica. So that is a sheet of mica, which is a stone, and they use that to cover this charcoal drawing. Then you might say, well, those are garnets. No, those are glass. Those are synthetic of garnet, and those are actually lovely Czechoslovakian glass. And what's interesting about this brooch is how unusual this is for a later, mid to late Victorian version of a lover's eye brooch. Unusual in its size, unusual in its materials. Normally these are very small, and these are, shall you say, gold and fine jewelry, and this one's completely costume, but a very unusual use for a sheet of mica. Very courageous. Can you imagine the artist that put this together, that used a sheet of mica to cover a charcoal drawing and then to frame it in these synthetic garnet glass stones? This is one of my favorites, and I used to wear this, and now I don't, mica is so fragile, I don't want to damage it. But isn't that amazing if that could tell you the rest of the story of this lover's eye? Interesting when it comes to early pieces. I don't think I've shown this on my channel. I know I didn't show this in my first video. And where I started YouTube was kind of a dare. It was kind of a dare from a very close friend. And she said, I kind of dare you to go on there. And she'd been after me. We all know who it is. She'd been after me for a year and a half. And I said, all right, I'm going to do this. So if you go back to my very first video where I was quiet and innocent, my times have changed. I did it was during Halloween. It was very late October, 2023, is when I actually officially started and kicked off the channel. So look at that for a silhouette. 1790, circa 1790. And then that plume of human hair underneath. And that's actually painted. That sepia is actually painted on there to create that ribbon. But this is all kind of coiled or quilled hair. Mixture of 14 karat gold and 9 karat gold on the frame. But that silhouette, I had to show this for an early version. Absolutely exquisite. And I got this for, I think it was like $80 back in the day. And now these are, about $1,000. So there's a lot of value in these older and earlier pieces because they are getting harder and harder to find. This one was in my previous video. This is a very unusual compartment pendant, and I had dated it like around 1870 to around 1880 is when I CIRCA dated this, and someone had said, "Oh no, it's not that age." And then I thought, really, so you're gonna, come on and correct me. So it's fine. We have differing opinions. Let me grab my book, and the reason for this is Christy Romero's book. Warman's book, and you know that I'll eventually list all these books, but this is, let me move this out of here before I damage that. But I said no, that's most certainly exactly what I said. So are we not looking at the identical piece here in a way? Very, very much so, identical. And that's dated right there, and it says CIRCA, the little C, because that's what intelligent historians do, 1880, and I said circa 1870, circa 1880 in my very first video way back in the day, and we look at those two side by side and we go, okay, yeah, we see very similar, everything, the use of turquoise, the seed pearls, the multi-drops, the size, the scale. What's interesting about this, why I bring this pendant on, is what's important to know about this one is this is a compartment on the back to hold hair of a loved one. So this was mourning jewelry. This was definitely, not necessarily sentimental on this one, but see how this hinges open so that you could then see that, woven hair underneath that glazed crystal compartment. Angel skin coral, seed pearl, and genuine Persian turquoise. Look at the construction of this. What a genius mechanism to be able to be spring-loaded. So that just kind of swings off of there, and it's completely a spring-loaded mechanism that then controls that mechanism. Look at the construction of these earlier pieces. Look at all that oxidation on gold. So a mixture of, between 14 and 9 karat gold, also a lot of silver. So they did mix silver and gold together in earlier pieces. I had had to bring this on for scale and size. I was offered $2,200 for this, and I declined it. I thought, no, I'm not going to find this again anytime soon, and to be so complete with all of these little teardrop dangles, and look at that little seed pearl in the drop. But the detail work of all of this, I did cover all of this in my first video, the cross, the sparrow, the flower blossoms. I did cover this piece in that initial video, and I will put that in the description for all my new viewers. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cross-reference my kind of library of videos to get you back to previous videos. So you ask yourself, what is the information inside of the box? This is from the exhibition at the museum that I participated in fall of 2012. And this is kind of the catalog for the sale that we had printed, and then there were numbers assigned in the final catalog. There were numbers assigned to this, so when they looked in the showcases, because I think there were 3 showcases that I had filled, I had Victorian fashion, I had mantillas, I had capelets, I had capes, I had beaded collars, I had a hairwork frame. That's one of the largest that I've personally ever seen. I think the outside frame is 36 inches by 32 inches, and it's filled with Victorian hairwork flowers that look like real flowers and lilies and leaves and tendrils that are completely constructed out of wire and human hair as a memorial to generations of family members that had been lost. It's stunning when you see these pieces in real life. Getting back to this, so this was kind of the list of the exhibition and all of the pieces and kind of baseline information of, again, CIRCA dating the items and kind of coming up with the materials that were used at the time. I had done a presentation at the museum as well. I did even include Goodyear buttons, a card of Goodyear buttons that were patented in 1851. I think what, there's the wreath mentioned too. I think what was the most interesting about the exhibition was the affection that I had from the viewers of the collection. And it made my journey through collecting feel very validated and very worth it. Let me show you some pieces that I did not show you in the last video. Let's move these in and then I'll zoom in for you. I had to stay a little bit zoomed out so we could get all that information in. These were more recent that were added from the previous video, and then we'll get into some of the ones that I had shown before because they're definitely worth seeing again. It's been over a year since that video. Oh, and you might ask yourself about the red box that was in my box, that was in a light box. Stay tuned for this because you won't believe what's inside of this jewelry box. Absolutely incredible leather. Talk about royal and luxury and real. We'll get into that in an unboxing video in the coming videos. So thank you for always coming back and taking a look. And I always tell people, if you don't have the time to sit down for a half hour or 45 minutes with me, just play me while you're cleaning, play me while you're, vegging out on the sofa after a long day of work. Hopefully I bring something to your life of value and fun, and I do appreciate sharing all this information with you. This set is currently listed on my eBay. I usually do not cross-reference my eBay site on my YouTube, but someone had asked me, do you have any Victorian hairwork jewelry for sale? Well, absolutely, and this has been listed on my eBay site. These are gold and woven hairwork earrings. And I'm sorry about the box being a little dirty, but, it's just cotton that I wanted to keep this safe in. That's woven human hair under that grid-like formation. Rose gold and green gold, and then look at the little hairwork beads. This did not photograph really well on the eBay site, but these are Victorian earrings. These are around 1870, approximately 1870, again, CIRCA dating. And there's the brooch with the woven human hair underneath that kind of grid-like form. And that's solid gold all the way through and through. So if you like and you want to acquire a piece of Victorian hairwork jewelry, I very much so recommend this set because it's difficult to find the brooch and the earrings still together. Normally, one daughter or a family member would get the brooch, and then another family member would get the earrings, and another family member would get the necklace. If they had that much money, the original owners, to create these pieces. have that much money to create that would be an awful wealthy family. They would have been extremely wealthy to construct this. So there's the brooch and the earrings, and I loved that it was heart-shaped. Not a frequent occurrence, let me say that much. Let me move this one over on the other side of my table. I like to keep my things so I know where to find them. You know, with over 700 listings on eBay, a couple months ago, it was very difficult to find some of the things that I was selling. So I have a whole room devoted to the eBay listings. This one is silver and enamel and Victorian. And look at the little seed pearls. Yes, it's missing a tiny little one, but you know that I have that stone. This was a more recent acquisition. I think within maybe the last few months. I think I brought this on a video before, but I had to bring this for a close-up. Look at the construction of that and how that snaps together and that beautiful engraving. Yes, there's a lot of wear to the enamel, but there are no major chips. And that's the one thing you want to look for is scratches and wear, no problem. If it's chipped, oh, it's so difficult to fix. So avoid any major damage in enamel. This one's circa 1880, 1890. Closer to probably 1890 on that one. Some people would say that's 1860. I would disagree. That one, it's probably worth, I would say that one would probably be worth around 185. This one I had brought to the lapidary group when I did the presentation on my collection for them. And this is Whitby Jet. And why I bring this back is, doesn't this look like it could have been made in 1950? You know, late 1940, 1950, maybe even, I would say, maybe even, 1960. Looks so contemporary. It also looks like Bakelite from the 40s, 1950s. This is Whitby Jet. This is polished Whitby Jet. Very large version. Very courageous. This kind of love knot and folded ribbon. Look at how that's all opened up and carved, and then all carved from behind, and then worked by hand to get that gorgeous polish on it. You might ask yourself, how do you date it that early? How did you CIRCA date it? Tube hinge, applied metal, definitely very early. Tube hinge there, so there's a tube, and then there's the hinge, so tube hinge is what we call that. Soldered to a plate, affixed into the jet, and then that simple riveted little C-style clasp. Just a little C, no rollover, no mechanism, never had one. How that's riveted through on that little brass plate says, I am early Victorian. So very cool. And I should say technically mid-Victorian on this version. Wonderful. Very large scale. If this were Bakelite, it would be $95 in black. If it was red Bakelite, it would be, $150. As Whitby Jet and Victorian and a true antique, that's more like $285 to like $325. So because it's Victorian, it does carry much more value. So be on the lookout for such early pieces that look slightly more contemporary. And then we go into this hand brooch. This is gold, a recent acquisition. This came in from the antique show closer to Sandusky, Ohio. I think this was 14. Maybe it's 10. I don't know. Let me take a look with my loupe. See, this is what I get for not really doing, oh, this is 18 karat. I take it all back. This is 18 karat gold. Give me 1 second. This is 18 karat gold as I, let me pause 1 sec. I'll be right back. Hold on. Much more zen now. Boy, I had to relax for a moment there. This is 18 karat gold. And I guess Jeremy didn't put enough Benadryls in my mashed potatoes today. That's totally a joke, everybody. Settle down. It's called humor and sarcasm. So this is 18 karat gold Victorian. Absolutely loved the elegant nature of this tiny miniature hand. And look how far that pin stem extends over, and that tube hinge construction and that little roll, little C roll there, so that, you have just the simple C, no mechanism to hold that on. That's 18. Oh boy, this is going to be tough. 1860, 1870. 1870, could be earlier than 1860. Could be earlier than 1860. I love the elegant nature of that hand. I've always been fascinated by hand jewelry. Don't know why. It's seemingly harder and harder to find. But we'll go into this one, and then we'll get into a couple of the ones from the exhibition. I don't want to repeat the whole first video that I ever did on Victorian jewelry, but at least this gives you maybe a little bit more of an understanding of the materials and the design sense. I brought this to the lapidary group, and I wanted to bring it back for a closer inspection because most of you that tuned into that not necessarily felt left out, but you said, hey, we'd really like to see a couple of those pieces closer up. So this will be the final time I show this on my channel. It will go back into safety deposit, but this is solid 14 karat yellow gold. I did buy this at a pawn shop. They knew that it was gold. They tested it. And I stepped forward for this because it was very expensive, and I had to keep this safe. So this is all woven human hair. And during my presentation at the lapidary group for Summit Lapidary, I had been asked by a very smart, there were a lot of smart people in that room, and many great questions. And Kristen had asked me, what's the difference between human hair and horse hair when they use horse hair in Victorian jewelry, which they had used like the hair off the mane and the tail of horses to sometimes sew together seed pearls and sometimes make watch chains. And I said, it's the texture and it's the thickness of the hair. You can see in this for sure that this is human hair in several different colors. We have a dark brown, almost an auburn, going into a lighter blonde, and then an extremely light blonde. So I believe that there would be about 4 generations of people in this one necklace. I marveled at the construction of creating these in gold. And as a silversmith, my understanding of how to construct things, these are all soldered together by hand. So the wire is soldered as a twisted wire. They didn't just go to the store and buy twisted wire like we do now. They formed these end caps. They made the jump rings, and they soldered all this together. Then they took those hair kind of tubes that are woven as a mesh by hand and inserted them into these cage-like forms. Look at the craft on this. Look at the attention to detail on how they soldered these pieces together. The jump rings even vary in size. The jump rings even vary in size. Look at that right there. They absolutely vary in size. So they're not all the same. Showed that they were working with what they had, shall I say it that way? And you come down to this very large hairwork cross. I love this piece, and I feel as though when I say things are important or I say things are historical, this is historical and this is important. And I fought to keep this safe. I'm truly honored that I own it because it's one of the largest and one of the best I have ever seen. Extremely wearable today. I believe that is 16 inches around the neck. CIRCA dating on that one, it gets a little difficult. I would say CIRCA dating again, 1860, maybe 1865, if we wanted another 5 years. So I'll move that stuff out of the way, and then I'll just get into a couple of the pieces that were in the exhibition, and then I had all the didactics with these pieces, which were small information sheets that gave the people in the catalog corresponding numbers to the items and then what they were in the exhibition. This was a very popular one as well. Let me zoom out just a little bit, and then when I zoom out, I always zoom back in. Let's zoom out a little bit and give us a little bit more space. So this is, in fact, vulcanite. And the chain is just exceptional. Can you imagine that as a Victorian piece? Again, circa 1870. I think I put 1870 circa dating on that one. No denying that. Look at that expression. So is that mourning jewelry? Yes. Is it sentimental? No. This is mourning jewelry. This was made to be funerary and all about the mourning process in the Victorian time period. There were a lot of people that passed very young in the Victorian time period, and life expectancy expectancy was not very long in the Victorian times. So there was a lot of death that surrounded people on a daily basis. They wanted to go through the mourning process. This is carved Whitby jet. This is all carved out of fossilized coal. You could do a whole bunch of research on your own on Whitby jet. Now, this does look like bog oak. Unfortunately, I don't think I got... Let me look in my thing here. I don't think... See, I'd like to do a comparison on film and not planned. Let me see if I have... I don't think I pulled a piece of bog oak. I regret the delay here for a second. I guess I could pause again. No, I didn't bring... I guess I didn't. I did not bring a piece of bog oak, and I wish I would have, but I didn't. This is also Whitby jet. I did find this one in the collection. So this is Whitby jet, and this is a carved pendant. And again, it's basically fossilized coal, I guess you could say. It was no longer mined. Because of, it threatened the city on the cliff, basically. But you can still find jet, absolutely, you can still find it. But that's a beautiful pendant, 1850 to 1860 on this one. Beautifully carved, though, and all fully opened up. Beautiful polish on the back. I will tell you another thing. Whitby jet is very lightweight. It's for its size, extremely lightweight. And there are tests for Whitby jet. I don't agree with them, though. Old-time dealers said to test Whitby jet, get a piece of unglazed porcelain, like the bottom of a vase, like an old vase that had unglazed porcelain, the white clay body porcelain, and take and just kind of scratch the edge of the jet on the white, and if it left a brown mark, that was a strong indicator of Whitby jet. Well, unfortunately, vulcanite does the same thing. So it really doesn't help, You'll know by the polish, you'll know by the finish. When it's bog oak, it looks like this, carved like this, but it's more of a matte finish. It's not high polished. After all, it does look like wood. So it doesn't have that glassy finish. At least that's the best way I could tell you to differentiate between the two there. This is 9-karat gold and enamel on the Locket, 1865 to 1875. Why I bring this one on is this has not been seen, I don't think, on any of my videos. This is gold filled, the mesh book chain. I guess you could still say, is it technically a book chain? Not necessarily. Is it a mesh locket chain? Absolutely. It is gold filled. And then the 9-karat gold is the contents and the metal of the locket. A lot of oxidation on it, and I don't think anyone was in this. Oh, there was. I take it back. So there you go. A very handsome gentleman and a very beautiful woman. And look at her jewelry. I've always been so fascinated by the hairstyles, the jewelry, and the outfits. He is very handsome. I wonder who he was. Look at that stern expression, but still so peaceful, both of them, for early photographs under these beautiful original fitter caps and everything on the inside. I did not know they were in there, but that's fully enameled Victorian. Absolutely beautiful. And the chain is magnificent. So again, that was in the exhibition, and I had that. I had these all on busts, neck forms and busts, so they were very appropriately displayed. And people have asked, how many exhibitions have I been in? Too many to remember. I've sent items from my collections, both in jewelry and decorative arts. I've sent them. Oh, I do love this one. I want to show her again. She's just magnificent. I love her, and that's early. That is let's see here. 1830. Yeah, 1830, based on hairstyle. That is broken there, and someone left this for, they thought nothing of this. And I think this may have been an auction find, but look at the age of the back of that. I always like to go in and show people the age of the back. I need to clean these displays up as well. Let me keep those two things together. This is glass. Oh, let's do a garnet one, because it's not, this isn't morning jewelry, but this is Bohemian garnet. And this one has a compartment on the back of it. Well, it did. Oh, it does. Okay, here we go. Still got the compartment on the back of it, so that there would have been some sort of maybe hair behind here. And these are Bohemian Garnet. This is an earlier one because look how small the stones are. I think all of them are there. I don't think I've ever shown this on the channel either. 99% sure this one has never been seen before, but that would have had a compartment. That's a compartment. This has definitely been replaced. See how that used to be just a little, the little C, someone replaced that with a more contemporary mechanism. This happens, I would say, a strong 50% of the time. Tube hinge, so we know it's Victorian. And beautiful garnets, flip down bail as well, so you could wear it as a pendant. Look at those garnet stones. Very large brooch as well. Circa dating 1870. No doubt. Maybe a replacement there, because you could see where that one just kind of screams that it's been replaced. I'll look into that and see if I can... Oh, that may not have been replaced. No, I don't think that has been replaced. I think that's always been there. There's a Zito fur on there. There's one of my dog's furs. That was from a long time ago. That was... Wow, that's a Zito fur. It's wonderful when, look, it's still there. I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm going to leave it right where it's at. That's a reminder that our pets are always with us, that they never fully leave us. He's been gone for many years now. I miss my dogs. When they go, it's so difficult. It really is, like losing a family member. We'll do a couple more and then we're going to call it. This is Whitby Jet. The ribbon had been replaced, but it would have had a ribbon. And that's Whitby Jet. Very lightweight. Faceted, looks like gutta percha and vulcanite, but that one is Whitby Jet, and it's carved out of stone. See, I guess I could do a comparison contrast, and it is missing some drops, because they did break off. Let's do a comparison contrast, and let me show you what I was saying earlier about the polish. Here we go, comparison contrast. Whitby Jet on this side, vulcanite on this side. See the difference? So same basic oversized curb link. Look how this leans like a brown and matte finish. Look how glassy, and how polished this is. And you can see that these are drilled out and there's like some chipping on these. That's Jet. And then you look at this one and you're like, oh, okay, now I understand. That's vulcanite. So there is quite a difference there in the materials that were used. Price difference? Not much, So you don't have to go, and then people lecture and go crazy and then they say, well, this is this and this is this, and they start screaming at people because all of a sudden jewelry becomes a fight, And there's no reason. There's no reason because there's not that much of a difference in value. And let's be clear on that. I like to clear things up as I go. This one, that's just a beaded piece. This one is, let me show this one. Let me show you this one. Let me show you this one. And then we're going to call it. I have there's another one I want to talk about. We'll do another video. I wanted to talk about the French glass necklace too, but we'll bring that one back. That's a gorgeous piece. We'll bring that one back. So this one is around 1810 to 1830. The pin mechanism has been replaced. So look at that fur compartment with hair under it. And look at those little natural coral. This is so small. Look at what a whisper that is. 1810 to 1830, that's clearly been replaced. Probably 2 or 3 or 4 times. Tube hinge on this side, very early construction. Gold-filled metal. It's not gold. But look at that, hairwork under crystal. Water had gotten under there and kind of turned that into that frosty, foggy surface. But I love the size of this one. And very unusual to have a coral border, normally treated with seed pearls, or, like this one, black enamel. And then this one, let's see here, what did I put? In memory of compartment pin 1810 to 1820. These are called handkerchief pins due to the extremely small size. And note the message in the enamel work, and it says, in memory of. And then, unfortunately, it is missing the compartment, the glass covering the compartment. That does look like woven human hair. Sometimes it's fabric, but that definitely looks like woven human hair. I should get that replaced. And then it does say in memory of. It says in memory of in the black enamel. Look at how gigantic that extended pin stem is. tube hinge here, and then that little C here, strong indicator of Victorian. Now these could end up in a jewelry jar. These could end up in a box. This could end up in a junk bin, in a consignment shop. They may not know, because a lot of times when things aren't signed like this, they're just discarded. I can't tell you how many times I found such Victorian pins over the years for very little money. I was up in Cleveland when I was 18 years old, and I bought a very beautiful Victorian mourning pin. Back then, I paid $5 for it in Mentor, Ohio. And I think I sold it for, back then I think I sold it for $2.25. Now it would probably be worth at least twice that, if not more. Extremely fine hairwork painting under glass, 1840 to 1850. The flowers are made from tiny pieces of cut hair, accented with pearls and inset over the mother of pearl. The frame is enameled 14 karat gold. The back of the brooch is hand engraved good friends. I'm going to leave you with this one today, because I feel as though I'm amongst good friends. This is not necessarily mourning jewelry. This could be sentimental jewelry. The painting on this, or shall I say, the assemblage of the hair, is absolutely exquisite. So each little petal is three-dimensional and cut by hand. Look at the little pansy flower here, that you could even notice what kind of flowers these are. The little stamens and pistils in the center of that flower there. The basket, the tiny little pearl accents. Look at that mother of pearl background. This, to me, was one of the most interesting that I had found, because it, like I said, it said on the back here, your good friends, gold. This had been replaced around 1915, maybe 1918. Was a watch pin as well, so could have held a pocket watch, so had a dual purpose, and the applied tube hinge. Very early construction on this one. The border is enameled with that kind of arrow leaf kind of shape border. Really incredible for size and skill, and that none of the parts have come loose and have fallen off. A lot of times they were known to be assembled with either early resin, early glues, adhesives, very early, sometimes even beeswax, and then applied to the surface with some heat and little tools to make these pictures of flowers. That is a floral bouquet that will never die. This message means a great deal now today, more than, ever before. So I leave you with that today. I thank you so much for joining in. I believe I'm going to air this. I think I'm going to air this on Thursday or Friday. So, the chronological of my videos just doesn't happen. I have to record them when I can. So thank you so much for joining in. I really want to say a special shout out again to all of the new subscribers for trusting me and for loving me, even when you don't fully understand me or some of the things I say or some of the things I do. I'm just forever grateful. It's taken 51 years to feel remotely accepted, and it sure feels very good. So I never wanted to be popular. I just wanted to be right. And I thank all of you for making me feel safe and happy. Please go forward with your day. Be happy, spread love, and I love you because I do.